Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. This is the Week in Woke. This is Dear Woke Christian, the Week in Woke. It's going to go over the week familiar with our usual Sunday show, the Sunday wrap up. With Dear Woke, kind of go over the things that came up this week, whether it's on my channel or other channels. It's fun to do an opportunity to kind of recap and go over some of the stuff that's happening. Also, just a connection. So, the question on the floor to start the day off, evening. What the pastor preached. So Joel came from Luke chapter 6, verse 27 through 37. And it was a great sermon regarding how we are to express and demonstrate and practice the love that we're supposed to do and we're required and asked to give. It was outstanding. I have to admit, being the deacon on duty, a lot of the times you don't hear the sermon like you want to. And I like to take notes. I like to jot down little notes and stuff like that. I admit I had not been doing that as much as I'd like to. You know, you sit in the sermon, you hear the sermon, but if somebody moves wrong, you got to go kind of walk over there and do that and the other. And sometimes you just don't get to hear the sermon. But boy, just sitting in there today, just listening was outstanding. I was like, man, I missed this so much. So matter of fact, I came to church with no shirt and tie on. I came with a shirt, just a polo shirt and some jeans. So I was like, that way they will not ask me to do anything. I'm all out of uniform. I'm up in here just to listen and be taught God's word and to sing with my wife and my kids and to sit next to my mom and crack jokes with her and such like that. So that was my Lord's Day. Let's see what Will is in the building. Good to see you, William the Worst. He said, my pastor preached about on being fishers of men and focusing on the gospel in our everyday lives. Come on now. I love it. I love it. Because that's what we're supposed to be doing. So I love it. Good to see you, Shara Joel. Always good. Susie Q in the building. How are you, love? Good to see you. Good to see you. So hopefully your Lord's Day was a blessing. We also had first Sunday luncheon, fellowship luncheon, which is always a big deal at Smyrna Press. So that was outstanding as well. What do you got, Susie? What you got? Her sermon today was on the 3 parables in Matthew chapter 25. Okay, now I really want to know. So you got to give me all the context. All right, I got to know. What are the parables in Matthew 25? I got to know. I got to know. All right. Also, if you're a content creator and you use music in your videos or whatnot, can you please help a brother out and tell me how you're using music? Because I thought I had some license-free music. And okay, so this is the parable of the 10 virgins, the parable of the talents, and the parable of, what was the other one? Sheep and goats. Okay, I love it. Love it. I didn't realize how long that was. Okay, thank you, Susie. So if you're using music on your streams or on your videos, let me know, because I thought I was using some free to use licensed music, and lo and behold, one of my videos got a strike on it, and it's only like 12 seconds worth of music. I'm like, how does that even work? Anyway, help me out. I'd appreciate it. All right, good to see you one more time. I like how you spelled that, by the way. That's cute. Man, please blast that like button. Come on, help me out. Comment down below. Let me know what your pastor preached on today. So I do want to start off by saying thank you. What's going on, Vic, in the building? What's going on, my friend? Good to see you, brother. Grace and peace. I do want to say thank you again to everybody who supports me on Buy Me a Coffee. I thank you very much. It's been a huge help. It's been a huge help with the things and projects I'm working on here in Dear Woke Christian Studio. Hopefully there'll be some new things that you'll notice soon enough. So thank you all very much for that. I will be doing a live Q&A with the Buy Me a Coffee crowd. I'm thinking about doing it this Thursday at 7 o'clock. So check your emails for that. So I appreciate you very much. And to everybody, I thank you for going to my blog, dearwokechristian.com, because I was playing around with an idea this week and I wanted to see what you all thought about it, which was this idea of working to get 1% better every day, just focusing on getting 1% better. So if you notice in an earlier live stream, I told you all that I'm focusing on getting 1% better on my thumbnails, titles, and descriptions. So because of that, I gave myself permission to not edit any of my videos. So the videos just were going hot and there was no editing and anything like that. And I like that idea. And I think I could still do that, but I have to edit the videos because I did a video and realized that my share screen, it was showing up on my monitor, but it didn't record. So you see me talking about it, and I'm pointing to it and all this stuff like that, and it's not recorded. So needless to say, I'm gonna have to go back on that offer about not editing my videos, but I can work on some other things. So I am still gonna focus on getting better on my thumbnails and my titles and my descriptions, because I do believe that that's key for growth here on YouTube. At least people want to see something. They visually want to see a good thumbnail. They visually want to see a captivating title and description if they read the description of the video. It needs to be engaging. So I want to focus on that and get better at that each and every day. So I didn't write a blog. I did a review of a video on my blog, dearwokechristian.com, and I explained it out there, and lots of people went to the blog. So feel free to check it out as well. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about it. But that was that. So thank you all for encouraging me in that regard. And you'll see a little bit more. You're going to see a little bit more of that, me working on getting better on my content that I'm creating here. So let's see who jumped in. Susie, thank you so much for dropping the links. Thank you so very much. That is the dearwokechristian.com at wordpress.com. You can also check me out and buy me a coffee. Help me out. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Susie, so much. And the Rumble. Come on. I got to get that. And I'm going to be working on that as well. That's something that part of my 1% is being more consistent. My Rumble already goes up, but now I want to make sure I actually tend to it and kind of take good care of it and make it, help it to grow, if you will. What's for dinner? That is a great question. And I honestly don't know. The Whitaker Talk Show and the rest of the family went to Target. I don't think they're going to go to Target to get dinner because they went to the grocery store already. I don't know. I have no idea. So it's going to more likely be leftovers for Dear Woke Christian. But I don't know. That's a great question, man. Excellent question. Messing my night up, though. Got me thinking about food now. Way to go. Way to go, Vic. Way to go. So hopefully yesterday you all were able to tune in and check out my interview with Mike Moore from the Honest Youth Pastor. And he did the docuseries, the video essay on Mike Todd. It's very informative, super duper informative, and such like that. So my question right here is, as we talk about that, did you get a chance to see my interview? And of course, did you get to see the video essay? And what did you think about it? What were your thoughts about the video essay on Mike Todd? I thought it was really informative myself, but I want to hear what you all thought as well. So this is kind of an interactive session. Thank you so much, man. Yes, please smash the like button. Abuse that like button. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Susie. How did the Powder Puff game? I will tell you at the end. I'm going to save that one. Absolutely. I will tell you about that. And by then, hopefully the Whitaker Talk Show will be back from Target with her mom and sister, and she can still come and she can give a play-by-play. It was fun, though. She had a good time. Good to see you, Eric. Thank you so much, man. Eric, absolutely. Everybody, real quick, if you're not following Eric Smith, Servant of Jesus Christ, on YouTube, can you just real quick, just turn your mouse toward the button, open up another tab, open up this, and go to Eric's channel and support him. This guy he puts out some fantastic Bible-centric, Christ-focused material, and I really think you'll be blessed by it. And he's just a good guy, man, really good guy. So and hey, if he comes to your comment section and leaves your comment, you getting the creme de la creme comments. So check out Eric Smith for sure. Bookie, you ain't got no bread in your pocket still? So what did y'all think about that conversation with Honest Youth Pastor yesterday? If you had a chance to talk, or if you had a chance to see it, hopefully you did. But even more than that, hopefully you got a chance to see Mike Moore's video essay on Mike Todd, because I just thought it was super interesting. I got a lot out of it. He answered a lot of questions I didn't know I had. He did leave me some questions still, but that was not a fault necessarily. I just have a lot of questions about stuff. But what did you think if you had a chance to see it? What did you think about it? the whole how Transformation Church got into the limelight, where it started from, then how it got catapulted into the limelight, and then of course where it is now. Let's see. Man, these people still talking about dinner today. Man, get out of here. So, what's happening, RL West? Good to see you, friend. Absolutely. So, yes, Susie, thank you so much. Susie just dropped the link right here. This is the video link. It's in the chat right now. This is the video link to Honest Youth Pastor's video essay on Mike Todd. Check it out after this show and see what you think about it if you did not already. And of course, this is my conversation with Mike Moore on yesterday. Had a great time talking to him. Excellent brother, lots of good insight and wisdom. And to think that he does this on the side, like that video is top tier for sure. That video is super high quality. And to realize that he does that, just on the side. He did it on a lark. He didn't do it with like grandiose intentions for it to go off like it did, because it's gotten great traction on these YouTube streets, so to speak. And let me just check real quick and see, because I know like yesterday when we were talking, like when we started the conversation, it had 100,000 views, and by the time we got off the call, it had bubbled up to 101,000. So I just wonder how it's going now. So I'm just gonna peep real quick and see. Did anybody else? Hey, God's fancy girl, good to see you. Grace and peace, friend. Hopefully you all had a beautiful Lord's Day this week. This video now is at 115,000 views. That is outstanding. That is outstanding for a docuseries that he did not intend to go off that well. That is great. 115,000 views. If you haven't seen it, Honest Youth Pastor's video essay on Mike Todd and Transformation Church, the history of Transformation Church and Mike Todd, check it out for sure. Good to see you, Dead Wing. Good to see you. Grace and peace to you, friend. Grace and peace. So if you had a chance to see it, hopefully you'll, John asked, is Todd a heretic? I will say that he is. Now, a lot of people will be more gracious to him and just say that he's unlearned. And I'm not mad. I don't have to disagree with you. If you say, no, he's just unlearned, he just doesn't know his right hand from his left hand, okay, not a problem. I believe he is a heretic, though. I do believe that he's deliberately and intentionally teaching false and wrong doctrine. Now, he has some terrible people around him, terrible people, horrible theology around him. So I can't primarily say that, oh man, he just set out to deceive and such like that. No, he's got some bad people around him. So I can't even remember the guy's name all of a sudden now. Mike Todd and the other little guy. I mean, the bread in the pocket guy. That guy's horrible. His theology is a hot mess. So but yeah, I would say he's a heretic. Jason would, but I'm not going to die on that hill. So you don't have to worry about that part. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So R.L. West said, I watched Honest Youth Pastor's essay right after your interview stream. Okay, perfect. I love it. I'm glad somebody else checked it out. Hopefully. Thank you, Susan. I could not think of his name. Tim Ross. What was I thinking? Yeah. I'm sorry. Tim Ross is horrible, man. He's horrible. And I do believe Tim Ross is deliberately and intentionally teaching horribly. So therefore, I think that he's been led astray. But if you love truth, you would run from Tim Ross and Mike Todd. Good to see you, Richly Redeemed. Grace and peace. Thank you for stopping by on this evening. Thank you so much. And so yeah, RL, what'd you think about it? Did you have any opinions about the video essay that Mike Moore did? And by the way, video essays is nothing more than just a glorified way of saying documentary. I think it's just for the kids today. Because my rising 16-year-old, she says it too. Like she'll watch a long video essay, but won't watch certain other things because they're not called video essays. I don't know why. So it's truly something for I don't know what generation this is. It's for this generation. Let's just say it like that. Video essays are just documentaries for this generation. That's what it is. But so yeah, I enjoyed talking to Mike. He has some great insight. definitely pray for him as he's getting ready to jump into the Andy Stanley foray. And I'm looking forward to helping him out if he has any questions about Andy and the such like that, and any kind of insight and such like that. I'll be happy to help him out with that. So prayerfully that will come together. All right, Deadwing asks a good question here. How do you feel about denominations? About you use a denomination? I think they have their place. And my background, my history, I came from a non-denominational church and been a part of it for 15 years. And now I'm a Reformed Presbyterian. So it's almost like the ends of the spectrum. So you got footloose and fancy free. We got a meeting for everything. I don't like going to meetings for everything, but I understand why they do it, because they really are desiring to not offend God and to make light of God and to be flippant and do something that violates not only scripture, but our brothers and sisters. So therefore, Presbyterians will have a meeting about whether or not they should have a meeting about the coming meeting. So it's a joke. I mean, we have the Book of Church Order is back here behind us. So behind me, and we joke about like adding more chapters to it. And does the Book of Church Order say that? So it is funny in one way, but I can understand why it's helpful in the other way. So where am I going with that? Now, I'm not saying that every denomination is the same. So I cannot vouch for the 5,500 flavors of denominations. I will speak on mine because I'm a member of. And I think I feel comfortable with some other denominations that they're very similar. Denominations at least give you a chain of command. And what I mean by that is there's like a way of grievance. So if there was a problem in my church, and Joel, my pastor, is not the final court of arbitration. He's not Joel says no, that's it. No, I can go further. I can go after we've followed all the steps within the church. I can go to the presbytery. And if it gets even worse, I can go to the general assembly. I mean, there's not just there's one person to stop. The buck stops here. That's what I'm looking for. Whereas when I was in purpose-driven, seeker-sensitive church, everything was in-house. So the pastor, quote unquote, was the final court of arbitration. So if you had an issue, even if it ever was brought up, a lot of the time they just let issues just go. But if you brought it up, it would come to the pastor, and whether or not he liked it or he agreed or he disagreed, that was it. You had nowhere else to go. I'm not saying that denominations are perfect by any means, shape, or measure. What I am just saying, however, is that I can see the benefit of them. And I think, again, a good denomination, they're fantastic, solid Baptist churches that I would have no problem being a part of. No problem whatsoever. Of course, I'm Presbyterian. I got no problem being a part of Presbyterian. There's some good Lutheran churches. You know what? If the metal met the meat and that's all was there, I would have to work it out. I'm just going to work it out right here. I'm going to thug it out right here with these Lutherans, because I know that their church polity, they're at least trying to be biblical. At least now, whether or not we agree on it, whether or not we see everything eye to eye, I don't see everything eye to eye with my own wife. So I don't expect to see something eye to eye with 15, 16, 17 other people. So I'm willing to give denominations, everything needs to be scrutinized, however. So I wouldn't join the United Methodist Church. I wouldn't join the PCUSA. I wouldn't join those because I don't see them as trying to be faithful to God. I wouldn't join there's no way I would join a non-denominational church today. There's no way. A seeker-sensitive non-denominational church? Nah, you can just keep it. I'm just going to drive 10, 15, 20 extra miles or minutes in another direction to find a good, faithful church to attend. So, thank you for that question. That was not on my list, man. I got things on my notes, man. Don't be getting me off my notes. But no, that's a great question. Thank you so much, Deadwing. Shara Joelle says she only caught a piece of the interview yesterday. I was at my brother's cleaning his refrigerator. Okay. Well, I'm going to let you serve your family. That's perfectly fine. Come back next time. Let me know what you think about it. So I'll give you a pass because your brother needed that taken care of. All right. So let's see what Pookie said. Denominations exist because people disagree about the meaning of specific passages. And that's true. That's true. And I think, but when the metal meets the meat, sometimes a lot of the disagreements can be salved over if people are being willing to give a little bit and take a little bit and understand and listen and listen to understand rather than to just to be heard and to give their 2 cents. Just my point. I am glad to see and hear that Bible Care, you enjoyed J Mac's sermon at G3. Well, we will be going to G3 this year. So I'm hoping to hear some more great and fantastic sermons. We're going to be doing a meetup at G3 too. So stay tuned. We ironed out a lot of details this week. So hopefully I'll be able to start sharing some of those as the summer gets underway, and can't wait to tell y'all. Grace and peace, Randy. Grace and peace. Everybody do the same thing. Point your mouse toward another tab, open up another YouTube tab, check out The Truth Seekers with Randy McFoy, an excellent pastor seeking to make much of Christ and teach and preach sound and biblically. I think he would enjoy you checking out his sermons. He sends me his sermons usually once a week or every couple of weeks. I love hearing them and checking them out. But I think that he would be encouraged if you went by and checked them out and hit that subscribe button and bless them real quick. Don't tell him I told you to do that though. All right, just hook them up. RL said, yeah, I thought his music levels weren't too bad. As an independent documentary, it was good. Better than some art piece dramas I've seen. Oh yeah, I loved it. I thought Mike did an outstanding job. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does next. And if I can help him, I will gladly help him out. Randy said that his pastor preached from John 17:1-5, glorifying God. It was edifying. Absolutely. Hey, Randy, don't sleep on your own sermons. Your sermons are fantastic, friend. So, what? And so Deadwing is talking about denominations. He says, in all honesty, I feel it splintered Christ. We can be, again, all right, I'm Presbyterian. So we believe in pedal baptism. You could be Baptist and you could believe in believers baptism. But let's really get down into the brass tacks. We're not going to disagree on the biblical essentials. And therefore, we can say, hey, you know what? I disagree with you about pedal baptism. I disagree with you about the way that you do this. But I don't have to be disagreeable, and I don't have to abominate you because I disagree. I have some very good friends who are Baptists. I'm usually the only Presbyterian in a lot of my groups, and that's perfectly fine with me. I got no problem with it because I know if the metal meets the meat and things really get out of control, these gentlemen, these ladies they're going to have my back. They're not going to worry about whether or not my kids, whether or not we sprinkle my kids or we dunked them. They're not going to do that. Now, there's some other things we could argue about as well, but at the end of the day, we don't have to. We choose to, but that's part of, I think, the beauty of Christ is showing that we can be unified even when we have strong disagreements. And a lot of the time, not even strong disagreements. They're just, I just disagree with you. I don't like that. And I hate to say it, but a lot of the time that's what it is. I don't have a real good opinion. Well, let me say it like this. The Association of ARC, the question from John Gordon is, how about ARC, A-R-C, the Associated Related Churches? It's a loose affiliation type of situation. And if I understand it correctly, it's very similar to what Southern Baptist Convention is. Southern Baptist Convention is not a denomination. It's really just an organization that your church is a part of, that your church agrees to, if I'm understanding it correctly. However, I can see what this Southern Baptist Convention is doing. ARC, I don't have any respect for that, because a lot of the things that they believe in are anti-biblical. They still believe in the continuance of all the apostolic gifts. They believe in modern day apostles, fill in the blank, and they're very seeker sensitive. And that right there is going to be problematic for me. So I'm going to give them a hard pass. But hey, if you support them, I just tell people, hey, look into them a little bit more, dig into them. That's it. You don't have to go with what this crazy Yahoo said on YouTube, but hey, just look into them. Kevin Biggins, what is going good in the hood? What's happening, sir? Mr. Biggins, good to see you, man. Thank you for stopping by, man. What is going on? Here's Montana Viking in the building. Y'all know I'm gonna tell you to point your mouse toward that tab. Open up the tab. Check out Montana Vikings channel. Give them some love. Montana Vikings says, Associate Pastor preach on Jesus Christ submitting to the will of the Father and enduring suffering. Come on. I love it. Thank you so much, man. Eric's pastor preached on Exodus 3:19 through 31. I love it. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you, friend. Bible Theory Podcast is in the house. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a Christian content creator episode. Clearly, I have to do that because now we got all the cool kids are coming in. I feel like special. I might have to go get like fancy, put on a shirt and tie or something. So, Bible Theory Podcast, a fantastic brother. If you are ever interested in the history of the church, the ecclesia, the gathering of the called out ones, and you're just like, man, I wonder why church does that, or I wonder why churches have denominations, or I wonder why certain churches have this form of church polity. I've always wondered that. Go check out Chicano Knox Bible Theory Podcast. Check them out. Point your mouse toward the point your mouse toward the tab. Open up a tab. Check him out. He does an excellent job. He does an outstanding job, and his passion and his desire is to show you the church. The church. So even as somebody said earlier, they feel like Christ was splintered because of denominations. Chicano Knox does a great job of showing that no, the church is unified, whether it be Baptist, Presbyterian, Methodist, Lutheran, like the church is unified, and he does a great job at that. So good to see you, brother. Thank you so much. I did not expect to do a call out to you, but I'm glad to have you here. All right. Good to see y'all. Good to see you. Okay. Elder John, God's Fancy Girl, says, preach the triumph of Christ. Look, we can stop right there. We can stop right there. The triumph of our King. Come on now. 1 Peter chapter 3:18 through 22. I might have to bring back another. Look at Susie Q. Y'all give Susie a hug for me. That girl is in my mind. Oh, I'm like, how can I pull up these links at the same time? Susie is right there. Thank you, Susie, so very much. I really, really do appreciate you. I'm not trying to be funny. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Susie, so much. Man, I'm gonna have to bring back another episode where we just talk about what your pastors preached. Because I mean, it's interesting and it's engaging to talk about the shenanigans and the Mike Todds of the world, of course. However, man, to hear some of the sermons that your pastors preach, whoo, sometimes it is a kick in the pants. I'm like, I just love it. I love it. The unjust suffering of Christ on our behalf. Say that one more time. On our behalf, and his triumph over sin. Come on, come on. I mean, there's not enough hours in the day because I would love to do some good sermon reviews, as well as, we do the bad sermon reviews. We call out the horrible sermons. But man, I would love to find a way to just do some good sermon reviews, because I know, again, Randy does great sermons. I know Eric, oh my goodness, Eric himself can preach a great sermon. But I would love to hear some of your pastor sermons, because we're going to find a way to do this. We got to find a way. Maybe just make a playlist or something. I don't know. Oh, good to see you, Rob Q. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Mike Miller, what'd you say? Ricky Gantz? Ricky Gantz and I did a show on denominations. You are correct. The SBC is a coalition of churches. Thank you so much, Mike. Yeah, I'm not going to come off the top rope on denominations because I understand what they're for. Do you mind, Mike Miller? Can you please drop a link to the show that you and Ricky did about denominations? I will gladly pin it to the or put it rather in the description when this show is over as well. Because again, I don't have any beef with denominations that are trying to be faithful. But there's some that have been totally compromised, and I have nothing for them. But for those that are trying to be faithful, you know what? I'm gonna give you your best. I'm gonna give you your best. There's some PCAs that we be shaking our heads. We pray for them when our diaconate gets together, when our session gets together. We pray for them. But they're trying, and we might not agree with how they do it, but you know what? They're trying, and you know what? They're trying their best to interpret the scriptures and live it out in their church community, and they're trying their best. So, yeah, if you have it, Mike Miller, if you could, excuse me, put in the chat, that'll be great. Yes, and Dead Wing was the one that was looking for it. So, please, if you could, Mike, that'd be great. And even if Chicano Knox, if you have a brother, thank you so much. Oh man, bro, I'm glad to be a part of your team with you, man. I love watching what you're doing, Chicano. If you have something on denominations, please drop it in there. That'd be great. to help share that. But thank you all so much. Those are some great questions. And I had some real things I was going to talk about tonight. So I asked you about, of course, the the Mike Moore, Mike Todd video essay. Now, also this week, I dropped a couple videos on Matt Chandler. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, let's just have a real talk, people. Let's just have a real bona fide dialogue. Okay, we're going, as Matt Chandler said, eye contact, okay? What in the world happened to Matt Chandler? What happened to him? Now, I'm open to, I know somebody's going to say it, that there's always been a problem with Matt Chandler. I know some people are going to say that. And you know what? I can totally get it. But what happened to him? What happened to Matt Chandler? Because Matt Chandler seems to have gone off the skids. Like, what in the world happened to you, man? Oh my gosh. So as you all are getting your question, or rather answering that question, Deadwing says, thank you so much, Mike. There we go. Thank you, Mike, for that. I don't know anything about these people. John, do you know anything about Brian Zahan, John Crowder, Don Kethery, or Steve McVie? Two of those names sound familiar for some reason. My friend is listening to them, and I'm no theologian, but I believe they're changing universalism into inclusionism. Oh my gosh. I don't know them specifically, but you can almost always derail bad theology by asking, where do you get this from scripturally? Show me in scripture where that idea of universalism or inclusionism is taught. Show me that. Like, show me book, chapter, verse in context. You can almost guarantee, John, that you're going to fix some of those problems by just asking that question. And ask them to show me this book, chapter, and verses in context, and I'll come back next week. Don't need you to teach me it. I need to go back and read it myself. And if I come back next week and I believe it, then, oh, maybe it was there. But I don't need you to sway my belief and do scripture hopscotch through the Bible. Say, oh, so here's this, you cobble together a theology. No, give me your verses, and I will go and read them, and I'll come back next week and we can talk about it again. That's how I always deal with it, because rarely will they be able to do that. Because if I can read the scriptures and I can, like, for example, Genesis 1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I can read that and I can say, God created the heavens and the earth. So God did this. So the idea of the Big Bang Theory, I don't understand how that works, because I can see right here clearly that God did it. And it's all throughout scripture. So if I read that on my own, when I come up with the idea of the Big Bang Theory and evolution, I don't know. I don't think I would. So that's how you fix that. So just challenge them like that. All right. So, okay, here we go. We're talking about Matt. So God's Fancy Girl said he drank that woke juice. He did. He did drink it. But okay, so what do you feel like he was at one time sound? Because I've had people say, hey, Matt Chandler wasn't sound ever. I'm like, whoa, like really? Ever? I'm like, man, that's kind of rough right there. So what do you think about that? All right. Broken Dusty says, I saw Right Response guy going off on Matt Chandler. Trust me, Matt Chandler keeps putting himself on the golf tee and people just hitting 400-yard line drives right down the fairway with him. So I totally believe it. RL said he fell in love with the world. I can't argue with you. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying about Eric Smith. If Eric Smith gives you a comment, you're going to get a Bible lesson. You're going to get taught today. Matt Chandler just exposed his true self. He'd rather violate Proverbs 3:5 and Colossians 2:8 than to believe 2 Timothy 3:16-17 and John 17:17. And he lets his emotions run him. I'm telling you, if Eric Smith leaves you a comment, your finger's going to get the work, because you're going to be flipping pages And I promise you, he came up with that off the cuff. He's not sitting there. That's not a cut and paste comment. That is Eric. That's Eric. I love it. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. And that's a good summary. I do believe that he has allowed himself to get over his skis. He's allowed his emotions to carry him way past where he should be. And we're going to talk in a moment because he embraced and talks about Peggy McIntosh. And we're going to talk about Peggy because my goodness, in the morning, Peggy is a hot mess. Oh, my word. Okay. Thank you so much, Eric. All right. What you got, God Fancy Girl? If he was with us, he'd still be with us. I'm saying it. Come on. What you got there, my friend? Randy says, someone in my Bible study last week told me that America is God's special people and the world is corrupt because America went off. I gave it to him biblically. No, God, no, America's not. No, America's not special. We're full of some special people, though. We're on some short buzz people, but we are not special inherently because we're Americans. No. Now, I think we can make the argument that America has been given by God a lot of resources, a lot of privilege that we should be utilizing for the glory and honor of Christ. Now, I think that argument can be made all day and twice on Sunday. However, to say that we're special just because, or we're just special because we're, on this latitude and this longitude, no, that's stupid and that's dumb. And you're going to fall into a pit with that one. But I digress. What's Bible Care say? Bible Care and Share Fellowship. We should never major on the minors and minor on the majors in preaching. Amen. And that's what Matt does. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I really wish I was making it up how much I'm surprised because, Matt Chandler is famous for being the guy who stood flat-foot at Stephen Furtick's church during Code Orange revival and said, the Bible's not about you, right? I know everybody remembers that. I remember that. My 16-year-old, or rising 16-year-old, she talks about it all the time. She's like, Dad, not Matt Chandler. I'm like, yeah, baby, Matty Matt went off the rails. But I don't know where it was. I have not followed his trajectory. I might actually start doing maybe a little bit more deep dive into it because you all really enjoyed that Matt Chandler video and the Matt Chandler videos, plural. And I think it shows that you all were very interested in this because I think most of us kind of gave Matt that pass, kind of like David Platt. We gave him that pass, like, man, this guy's solid. He teaches good, but he's gone off the rails. So yeah, I'm hoping that we can look into him a little bit more. And I do believe that he's majored in the minors and minored in the majors. All right, Susie says, I think his sermon or lecture at Elevation 10 years ago, yeah, there we go. You're Not David's sermon was probably the most sound he's ever been. Wow. And it was super emotional. Let me say this. I don't have a problem with emotional speakers and preachers. I think H.B. Charles is extremely an emotional speaker. Vody sometimes can be very emotional. I don't think having emotion or passion or being hyper expressive is bad. I'm never going to say that because for crying out loud, I'm expressive. When I found that Bible passage that said, and Paul motioned with his hands, I felt freed and liberated. I was like, oh, good. I can talk with my hands now. But so no, I don't think that. But to be driven by your emotions, and again, I think Matt is not just an emotional speaker, but his emotions are driven by the circumstances and situation and the culture around. That, I think, is the problem. Because I don't think anybody would say that H.B. Charles is emotionally given over to the shenanigans and hijinks of the culture. However, I think you can see the exact same thing with Matt Chandler. He is super expressive, hyper emotive. That's not really my cup of tea, but those emotions and that emotive gets pushed by the wind and the culture into sin, in my opinion. So that's why. I appreciate it. All right. What? Yeah, I did say special short bus. I need to quit that. Yes. John Gordon says, as I heard John MacArthur say, We're one nation under God, under the wrath of God. And I think we should, you know what? That's a great point. I'm gonna cue off on that. Thank you, John. We have to realize and recognize that yes, your college or university may have started as a seminary for pastors. Your community may have been a hotbed for the first great awakening. Your church might have had a long history of sending missionaries all abroad. That does not mean today that they're sound. That does not mean that. It only means that they did at one time. That's it. I went to an HBCU, Morehouse College, and it was a seminary. I mean, it was founded to raise up and train pastors, and they have a great legacy of that. The problem is they do not have that same legacy today. So we can't rest on their laurels and say, oh, well, they used to, so therefore they are. So America may very well have started out, yeah, you're right. America could have started out just worshiping Jesus and loving Jesus and getting everybody saved from sea to sea. Absolutely. We ain't doing that now. We are not doing that now. So like, just let it go. Give it up, turn it loose. The past is the past and the current is now, and we are under God's wrath. Let's just be honest, tell the truth, shame the devil. That's the real deal. So that's just my little 2 cents on that. We were talking about that today at fellowship luncheon about like, yeah, y'all be resting too much on y'all past, and the past is not in favor of you. Like, no, that's not, that's not it. So just because it happened in the past, just because it was good in the past does not mean that it's good today. It does not. Mike said, honestly, stop listening to Matt Chandler around the time he took over Acts 29 Network. Yeah, I don't, Matt just seems to just keep coming up. And when I talk about Matt, when I do videos about Matt, they tend to do very well. Lots of people have an opinion about Matt Chandler, and I like to find out what it is. I think people have more of an opinion about Matt Chandler than they do about Andy Stanley. And I just like to know, like, okay, tell me, what is that? What is that you have such a draw? And I think it's fair to say that maybe even, I'd probably say 90, 90% of the people were very, very extremely disappointed in Matt Chandler. And I had some people that said, you know, I didn't think Matt Chandler was fine. Everything he said was perfect. But the vast majority of people had a very passionate response to Matt Chandler. And I would love to know, I just want to dig into that. Like, why? Like, what did you think about him? What was your opinion of him that you thought that he would be sound? Why do you think he's sound? That kind of stuff like that. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Here come Eric again. I told y'all. Yes, emotions are fine, but emotions can't run the train of thought or you'll go off the tracks. I think that's a great full stop right there. We have to let our emotions follow the truth of God's word, which in the video, you know, Matt regales that, you know, facts matter, but you don't give facts when you're supposed to be, quote unquote, weeping with those that weep. And there were some great comments that really flew in the face of that logic. Like, man, we don't do that. You don't weep with everybody that weeps. I mean, it's great. Matter of fact, I even got a seminary student from a very prestigious seminary who saw my video and wrote me a reply about like a deep dive. I'm probably gonna send it to Eric to translate it because he uses some Greek and all that kind of stuff like that. But it was really interesting. He's like, we don't do this. This is not what we do. And it was really good. So maybe I'll do a show with that one because it was a lot. It was a lot. I was like, wow. But it was extremely helpful to just explain, like, biblically, who was Paul writing to when he said in Romans? Who's he writing to? And then, like, just think about it. Like, we can't weep with everybody that weeps. It's not logical. And so it was an excellent email. So who knows? Maybe I'll do something about that. But Eric wrote again. Let's see what Eric said. We can appreciate things about America, but we have to remember 1 Peter chapter 2:11. We're strangers in a strange land. I don't think Eric, I think it's fair to say, I can say this without really feeling any kind of way. We've forgotten that. We've forgotten that this is not our home. This is not supposed to be our home. So therefore, lots of us treat it like we're supposed to be here when we're not. Now, I'm not going to get into your eschatology and how everything wraps up at the end, but I think it's fair to say, no matter what, 100% of the people living today will not be living in 100 years from now. Therefore, we need to look at the fact that we are not going to be here forever. And I think it's fair to say that 100% of the people that have lived, except those who were translated, have died. And they are in eternity now. So I think we should stop that. So I agree with you, Eric, 100%, man. Yeah, Eric, I'm with you. Amen, Eric. Amen. I think the phrase love is dumb. There we go. And I live in Atlanta, so they're gonna be using that dumb phrase a lot in a couple of months, but it's dumb. Love is not love. No. Love is obeying truth. So it's not loving. Let's just use Deadwing here. And let's just say Deadwing and I we live in the same town. We get together for coffee. Okay. And Deadwing tells me, Jason, brother, I have been embezzling money from my employer, and we've gotten away with it. And I'm now sitting on a couple cool million. They'll never know, and it's all good. Like I've been embezzling money, man, and it's great. It is not loving for me to say, no problem, Deadwing, as long as you don't get caught, as long as you tithe, you giving 10% to the church. Okay, good. Then love is love. I love you, brother, man. That's not loving. That's not loving. That's actually hating him, because he is going to be judged by God, even if he's never caught on earth, never called to the carpet, never called to account here on the earth. He will be judged in eternity. And it's not loving for me to treat him like he won't. So to say love is dumb. No, the fact is love is truth. I have to tell him the truth. And if I'm not telling the truth, then I don't love him. I'm lying to him. And I'll go as far to say that you hate him. If I don't tell Deadwing, hey, bruh, you're stealing, that's wrong, man. And I'm going to call the FCC. I'm going to call your employer and let them know. Unless you go in there and repent and acknowledge it tomorrow, I will be calling them tomorrow afternoon, because I love you. I love you and your family. I don't want your wife to be out on the street because you done got put in jail for embezzlement. I don't want that to happen to your kids. I love you, and I'm going to tell the truth. Love is a dumb statement. All right. No, it's a real seminary. I think you would know the name. All right, Debbie said her pastor preached from Matthew chapter 5, 27 through 32. Why do I think is that part of the Beatitudes? I think that is. I think so. Just kind of played off my memory. Eric is over here making me feel guilty, so I gotta get my Bible memorization up. Oh man, what did Eric say? I missed the comment. Okay, Deadwing. I hate that expression. It doesn't explain anything, because there's still a presupposition about what love is by the person saying that. Is it agape love, like 1 Corinthians 13, 2 through 8? There you go. I told y'all. Eric is here to bring that noise. I love it. Sin is sin. I've actually never heard anybody say that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Shara said, love is a logical fallacy. There we go. Oh, Nakia, what'd you say? Pastor John preached on Mark chapter 2, 1 through 12. I love it. Grace and peace to you, sister. We got to finish up our email conversation, by the way. All right, so R.L. Smith says, admittedly, had you asked me 3 years ago about America being special, I would have said yes. It's never mentioned in the Bible. Well, it is never mentioned in the Bible. I think we've been blessed with resources. We've been blessed to be able to be a blessing, if you will. But no, I don't think we're special in that regard. And I think it's fair to say, if you just look out at the landscape of Americana, I think it's fair to say, if a fair thinking, objective person will say, yeah, this country's in some trouble. There's no other way around it. If we were able to pull a person from the 1600s to observe Americana, there's no way they would say this country is a blessing. I would, you know what I would love? If we could pull somebody from the time period before Rome fell. So I don't remember exactly the time that Rome fell. So if we could get Augustine to come to America in the 2023 and see America where we are, because Augustine was there when Rome fell. I think it would be very interesting to hear what he says about America in contrast to what Rome was like when Rome fell. And I'm about to, that was a caveat for a book. I'm going to tell you, The City of God. Look how big that book is. It's so big you can see the words from here, and it's literally like 3 feet from the camera. Maybe, oh, I'm sorry, it's about 5 feet from the camera. City of God, and it's Augustine is writing about the fall of Rome. And because when Rome fell, they were blaming Christians for Rome falling. And he's like, it ain't our fault, man. It's y'all fault because y'all's crazy. Um, he didn't say it like that, but he did basically say, hey, don't blame Christians. And I would love if it were possible to bring anybody from the past to the modern day. I would love to bring Augustine so that he might see America and give us, give me like, what do you think about America in contrast to Rome before Rome fell? I think that would be interesting. But if you read City of God, I think you'll see pretty quickly, yeah, this is where we are. And you can, and even quicker, just read Romans chapter 1. Really, Romans chapter 1 will tell you right there, this is us. This is where we are. All right. Hey, Eric, thank you so much for stopping by, man. It's always good to have you, man. Grace and peace. If you're not already subscribed to Eric Smith, Servant of Jesus Christ on YouTube, do me a favor. Point your mouse to a new tab. Open up a new tab. Open up YouTube. Go to Eric Smith, Servant of Jesus Christ. Check him out. Tell him that I sent you, and I think you'll be blessed by hanging out with him. Eric, thank you so much, man. Always good. But love isn't love. See, the problem with the love is love. Okay, let me read what you said first. Love is a play to outlaw Christian evangelism to the Alphabet Mafia community. The problem is they're going to outlaw evangelism eventually. I mean, please keep in mind, evangelism, early Christians were persecuted by Rome for being atheists because we did not believe in the plenitude of gods that Rome believed in. We only believed in one. They called us atheists. They called our ancestors atheists because they didn't believe in all these other gods. So, okay, fine. They're going to outlaw evangelism. That's fine. We still, our king has told us what to do. And it's our responsibility to be obedient. So if our king said, go and make disciples of all nations, we have to be obedient to our king. That's just the end of the day, what it's going to be. So in this regard, is love play? I'm sorry, love is not love. No, because what is love? We got to define some terms. And once they define some terms as the liver shivers and the warm feelings and doing whatever I want to do, that's not scriptural. And therein is the problem. Oh, no problem there at all, Debbie. Absolutely. I agree with you. What I've mentioned before is that though something started off good, it does not mean that it's still good. It does not mean that it stayed true to its foundation. And I think we can all agree America has slid off its foundation and is careening down the mountain, actually. But I think we can all agree that America is not adhering to what it did in the beginning. So again, wherever you started from does not mean that that's where you are today. If you're not constantly reforming and constantly course correcting to make sure that you're not off pace or off trajectory, you could end up somewhere totally different 1,000 miles away than where you intended, because you're making incremental changes, incremental offsets. You're getting off just incrementally. All right. Grace and peace, grace and peace. Yep, this is exactly what they're going to be doing. So just like they did in Rome, when Rome fell, they blamed the Christians for Rome falling. And this is exactly the same thing. Montana Vikings is true. And when America falls, many will be blaming Christians all over again. Yep, that's what they'll do. They're not going to look at themselves. They're not going to look at their sinful ways. They're not going to look at how we rebelled against God. Not look at how we thumbed our nose at God. Nope. It's going to be, you guys are just not loving. You didn't believe in love is love. Okay. Baroque and Dusty said mother's favorite book is City of God. I've been meaning to finish it, and at this point, restart reading it. It's a great book. I mean, but it is extremely long. It is not for the faint of heart. It's easily, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 900 pages. It was a task to read, but it was a good read. I enjoyed it immensely. But at the end of the day, it is not. If you're not a strong reader and don't really like reading, you're gonna have to make some set a calendar invite to remind yourself to read it every day because it's a big book. It's serious. Mike Miller says the blessings and privileges we enjoy in America could also be our curse because our unfaithfulness with all of these resources. I agree. I think they're going to come back and haunt us because we have so many good things. We're not using them for the glory and honor of Christ. Those good things are rotting and those good things are festering and turning against us. Kind of like when the children of Israel would go and collect too much manna each day. It would rot in their shells or rot in the pots. And I think that's what we are. Like we're not utilizing the blessings like we should, and they're starting to actually become curses. I've not been to DC in years. I mean, years. Um, no, I have not, but I know it's pretty dark. I mean, I'm not surprised. Uh, oh, this is a good question. Have I ever considered interviewing Corey Minor? I wouldn't be opposed to that. I mean, I think Corey's a good guy. I've talked to him before. I've not had we've had some disagreements in the past, but I think for the most part, um, except for the fact that he won't grow a beard, I think we could find some common ground and such like that. So I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. Yeah, I think Corey's. I mean, let's put it on the spectrum. Let's put it on the spectrum. I believe Corey would have my back when the metal meets the meat. I feel comfortable in saying that. So yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with Corey. I mean, um, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. Thank you. Good question. I am on Twitter. What's my handle? Mr. J Witt. Don't quote me on that. I mean, I don't because I'm not faithful to Twitter. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I go to Twitter every now and then, like when Honest Youth Pastor reaches out to me. That's the only time I like log in. Oh yeah, it's Mr. J Witt. So it's at Mr. J Witt on Twitter. Um, yeah, I've been kind of slacking, so just pray for your boy. There's a lot of social media, man. There's a lot to try to manage, but so yeah, that's me, Mr. J Witt on Twitter. Yeah, I mean the architecture in DC is very troubling. I agree, but there's a lot of places like what in the world were y'all thinking? Like what was that supposed to be? There's a lot of places like that. So I've joked with Corey about growing a beard. So uh, yeah, I have no problem with that. I think he'd probably be surprised how happy he would be. Like, man, this looks good. I bet you he'd be surprised. Okay, so I told y'all I did that little review of Matt Chandler, and one of the things that kind of bubbled up because I started doing a lot of searching on Matt Chandler is this woman, Peggy McIntosh. Now, if you're not familiar with Peggy McIntosh, well, back in 1980, 1988, 89-ish, she wrote an article called Male Domination and White Privilege. It's an essay. It was really short. I don't understand, but so basically she regales in the white privilege aspect. This is where the infamous invisible backpack of white privilege comes from, that analogy. So if you've ever heard somebody say that white people have this invisible backpack or invisible knapsack, sometimes they'll call it, of white privilege, this is where they got it from. They got it from Peggy McIntosh. And so I found all 50, I found the essay and I went over it. So if you follow me on Buy Me a Coffee, you have that video, you can check it out. But today I'm gonna go over some takeaways, if you will. And I got my notes right here because I really want to make sure that I give it its fair reading. So I looked at it And I said, okay, here's 10 things that I think woke people, people who subscribe to woke ideology, will take away from Peggy's writing, and why Peggy became like a, I think Vody mentions her in Fault Lines. I've heard other people mention her on both sides of the discussion about critical race theory and woke ideology. I've heard her name bubble up. And so I'm like, well, what is it about her writing that really stands out? I'm going to be 100% honest with you. It's juvenile. What she says is quote unquote privilege is so juvenile. It's, let me give you an example. Number one, I haven't memorized. Number one, the first principle, the first sign of white privilege is that white people can choose to be with only white people if they want to. That is a sign of white privilege. I said, the fact that anybody did not throw her out on her ear for saying something that dumb, even in 1988, that was mentally deficient to say that. And so she's saying that only white people can choose to be with other less melanated people, because black people don't have that choice, because Hispanic people don't have that choice, Asian, Indian, fill in the blanks. They don't have the choice to just be around people of their own ethnic groups. Only white people have that choice. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, she's like, if somebody's quoting Peggy McIntosh, just put your arm around them and just say, pat them on the head and say, little Tommy, it's going to be okay. You're going to grow up eventually. It's extremely immature. There might be maybe three ideas in there that are valid. And I'm going to go through them. But I'm just, today, I made a couple of, I made some highlights, if you will. And these are some things that I think why woke people supported Peggy McIntosh's idea. So my first thought was, white privilege is an invisible package of unearned assets that white people carry with them every day. And I think that plays into the guilt of, if you feel like you've achieved something and you, for whatever reason, you feel guilty about that you've achieved something, and you're not trying to flex on people. So you're like, man, I feel bad that I got this great job. I feel bad that my kids are doing well in school. I feel some kind of way because little Tommy across the street or Sally down the road, they don't have that. And I feel some kind of way. So this white privilege idea gives you a place of like, oh, that's it. Ooh, I didn't just work hard. I had some kind of hidden hand of privilege that made this possible. Let's continue. White privilege is a systematic and institutionalized phenomenon, not just an individualized experience. Now, the reason I bring this one up is because they think that instead of it just being, when you look at your own individual life, you're quick to see what you're doing well in your life. But if you make it a group situation or a systematic situation, like, oh man, the only reason I'm doing well is because, the system is in play to help me out. Rather than, no, I made some good choices. I made really good choices. I did not eat those extra donuts, and now the scale is going down. These pants are fitting better. I've been running an extra mile every day, and now I'm getting ready for this marathon. It's something that you did. But no, if you say the system, oh man, the scale factory must be in my favor. They must be really looking out for me. I must be running shorter miles than Tyrone down the street. My miles must only be 3/4 of a mile. Like, you start creating these dumb narratives. And that's really what the book, Peggy McIntosh's essay is. It's a series of really dumb thoughts. And I know somebody's going to get angry about it. And guess what? Let's read it together and you tell me that those are not stupid. If you're following me on Buy Me a Coffee, you can see the video. And I'll leave the link for the full 50. I'll put that up here for y'all today because I want you to look at it. And you can look at them yourselves and you can see, like, what in the merciful name of the Lord is she talking about? I'm going to put it up there right now for you. This is the one that I used. It's from the University of Washington, and I'm going to put it in the chat. I think I am. There we go. There you go. Knock it out. You can see it. So let me finish these up. So, third point, white privilege is often overlooked or denied by those who benefit from it. So they're already putting in play an idea that if you deny white privilege, you just know that it's there and you're just lying. That's not true. That's not true. You might not believe it, and you might not see it. I think it would be really hard to convince somebody, a person of less melanin who was born poor, who's living on the street now, that they have privilege. I think you'd be really hard pressed to convince him or her that they are privileged. Good luck with that. I'm not going to try to convince them that they're privileged. I'll listen, tell them all only thing you have is that you have the mercy of Christ upon you today. That's all I can tell you. I don't know nothing about no privilege. But let us continue. White privilege confers advantages on many areas of life, including education, employment, and housing. So instead of you making good decisions, you have to now genuflect that something external has given you something nefarious external has given you these things that you have: the good employment, the education, the housing. You can't just say, God blessed me to make good decisions. God blessed me to marry a brilliant wife. Lady Dear Woke Christian is brilliant. I'm telling you right now, I overkicked my coverage for sure. That ain't got nothing to do with systems. Nothing. It has everything to do with me shanghaiing that girl to marry me 21 years ago. That's what it is. But they ain't got nothing to do with no systems. And I promise you, ain't got that woman works hard to be a fantastic wife and a great mother to these kids. It ain't got nothing to do with systems. But guess what? The same thing can be said about any woman, any husband, any kids, ethnicity set aside. If they work hard and they're trying to honor Christ. So Peggy is just dumb. I'm sorry. I know people can get mad about me saying that, but I'm going to say it again. Peggy McIntosh is stupid. White privilege can be seen in the way white people are presented in the media and popular culture. When Peggy wrote this was at the high watermark of The Cosby Show, A Different World. There were so many positive Black sitcoms and televisions and documentaries and such out in the 1988, 89 time period. And she's saying at that time that Black people weren't properly represented in media. What are you talking about, Patty? The fact that it was dumb when she wrote it, so it's even more ludicrous now. I don't understand how people let this get away. But see, this is what you heard Matt mention it. Matt Chandler mentions the invisible backpack. Brian Laritz talks about the invisible backpack. I've heard them talk about it on Jude 3 platform. I've heard countless others talk about the invisible backpack. And they're quoting this woman. And if you're looking for it, I left the link for the all 50 here. And I did a video on my Buy Me a Coffee. I'll be putting it up shortly for you all as well. White privilege can create blind spots in how white people perceive and experience the experiences of people of color. You know why? Because you're not me. Because the assumption is that my experiences are some level of holy, or my experiences are something to be venerated. My experiences are just my experiences. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Ain't got nothing to do with anybody else. That's my experiences. But see, they oversimplify and they overcomplicate various things in life. So my experiences have to be super complicated. They're not just my individual experiences. So whatever I experience, I'm wearing a black hat and a black shirt. All people of high melanin wear black hats and black shirts. That's silly. That's dumb. And again, if you disagree with me, dearwokec@gmail.com, we can talk about it. But again, I'm gonna tell you right now, Peggy was stupid. And she should have got laughed off the stage. Number 8. This is my 8th thing this is why woke people embrace this. Recognizing white privilege is the first step in working towards a more just society. So the way to be just in society is to be more unjust. Okay, that made sense to her. White people can use their privilege to advocate for and amplify the voices of people of color. I noticed something. Peggy McIntosh did not divest herself of any of her resources. I noticed that Matt Chandler did not divest himself of any of his resources. Robin DiAngelo, She talks about this a lot as well. She does not divest herself of any of her resources. So she should be giving all of her resources to people of high melanin and working to give them those resources because she has an advantage if she was truthful and honest to this idea. But she's not. She's not. And the last one, this is something why people picked up and ran with this. White people must actively work to dismantle systematic racism and inequality. See, she makes a big, everybody who has a certain melanin content must all work together to dismantle a system that they might not even understand. You know what could work? Peggy could just give everybody her paycheck. Give me your paycheck, Peggy. She has a pretty nice net worth. She's not breaking off any bread over here at Whitaker Park. So does she really mean what she says? Because I don't think she does. She, how about that? So here's some things that I think why most of us, well, let me say this is reasons why Jason disagrees with Peggy, why I think that her idea is not helpful. And these are mine. Now, people like myself reject the idea that white privilege altogether, seeing that it is a divisive concept that pits people against each other. And feel free to jump in if you agree. I'm sorry, if you're like me, feel free. I said people like me may see the concept of white privilege as an attack on white people or suggestion that they are inherently bad. And might I also say that it's a propping up and an infantilization of black people. You think that black folk can't do certain things. Black people can't do certain things unless white folk do something to help them out. People like myself feel that acknowledging white privilege is not productive or helpful in addressing race or ethnic inequalities. There are racial inequalities. There are ethnic inequalities. Cultural disparities are real. Those are real. However, some of them, well, first of all, I think we need to make sure we unpack exactly what they are. Do they really need to be addressed as a large scale, or does one group need to do something to help another group, or does one group need to help itself? Those are some things that really need to come together. My next point, some people like myself feel that the concept of white privilege does not take into account the experiences of poor or working class white people or successful black people or other people groups. It just makes everybody's very cookie cutter. Black folk can't succeed. All white people do succeed. Where does that play out, Peggy? There were poor white people in 1988 when Peggy wrote this stupid thing. Well, what happened to it, Peggy? What happened? Let's see. People like myself may feel that white privilege is an oversimplification of the complex societal issues. Amen. People like myself feel that the concept of white privilege is used in rather used to silence and discredit the opinions of other people. So you just say, instead of me agreeing with you or me disagreeing with you on the merit of your argument being false or the merit of your argument not being valid, I'm just saying, oh, well, you just got white privilege, and that discredits you. So it's really like bearing false witness. People like myself may feel that the concept of white privilege is a form of reverse discrimination. And I will go as far to say, correct myself and say that it is a form of reverse discrimination. It is. You can't beat discrimination by being discriminatory. That doesn't work. It's silly. It's silly. People like myself feel that the concept of white privilege ignores the ways in which people of color have advanced and have privileges. Absolutely. And that's what I think really the brass tacks is like you're looking at black people and people of color and other ethnic groups very myopic, very closed-minded, and such like that. I don't think that Peggy, I tried to do some research because she says something in one of her 50 that made me feel like, oh, is Peggy married? As a matter of fact, if you read the 50 comments by Peggy McIntosh, I think you'll see the one that made me think like, oh, what kind of, I think she's a part of I don't know. It almost rang like she was a part of the Alphabet Mafia. But I bring that up because I couldn't find out what was her faith system. Was she a professing Christian? Was she a Buddhist? What, or atheist? What? because her ideas clearly seem atheistic to me, because it's a very super simplification of the wickedness and evilness of humans. And that's to me a telltale sign that you've embraced an idea that's extra biblical, because there's no way for you to look at humans and say, oh, well, all white people work together in concert against black people. Really? Really? Come on. You looked at the landscape of any playground and you told me that that's the case? Really? Really? Come on, pegs. And lastly, I think it's the last one, I think. People like myself feel that the concept of white privilege is too focused on race and overlooks the forms of inequality. And really not just inequality, but the forms of sin. You just overlook the fact that we're sinners. And guess what? I'm a dark-skinned sinner and you're a light-skinned sinner. You're a medium-complected sinner. We're all sinners. And Peggy McIntosh makes it extremely juvenile about sin. And she doesn't even address it. Let's just be honest, tell the truth. She don't even address it. So I don't think that, so the fact that, people like Matt Chandler and Robin DiAngelo and all these other people feed from this pig trough of knowledge that Peggy espouses, I think it says a lot. It says a whole lot about them, because it's not discerning. Like, this is just dumb. So I'm going to stand flat foot on that one too. So my name is Jason. If you got issue, complaint, concern, dearwokec@gmail.com. Peggy McIntosh was a hot mess, but I dropped the link, and I'll put it down here again. I dropped the link for, you can read it and just tell me what you think about it. Comment down below. I would love to hear what you think about this White Privilege, Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack by Peggy McIntosh. I like I said, it's actually only 2 pages, and then there's some other essays that go along with it, but this one's just a short essay, and this is the infamous backpack argument. But I'd love to hear what you think about it. Give me your thoughts, comments, and I really feel like I got lost here in these comments, so I do apologize. Ooh wee, Betty, come on, Betty. Look what Betty said. Like Christian, and she's giving me a nod to Pilgrim's Progress. I know what you're doing there, Betty. That's the comment of the day right there. She said, like Christian, we lost our knapsacks at the foot of the cross. Come on, man. Betty, that's some good stuff right there. That might shut the whole party down. I love it. I love it because it's true. And y'all know me. I love John Bunyan. And that book is right over my shoulder. All right. I love John Bunyan. And Pilgrim's Progress is definitely one of my highlights. When Pilgrim makes up to the top of the hill, he gets to the cross, and his backpack that had been burdening him down falls off and rolls down the hill. I ain't gonna say I'd be crying. I'm just saying, like, whew, it gets hot in the room. And I love that scene. I love that scene so much. Thank you, Betty. That encouraged me right there. That might actually that might become the thumbnail. I love it. Thank you so much. Deadwing, yes, all privileges have a blind spot. Absolutely. I mean, just think about it. Okay, watch this. Let me show you how ridiculous that is. You have a family, whether you have kids in your house or they have gone off to build their own families. You have a family. Now, your kids, they more than likely, when they come home to visit you, they usually just walk in the door. They have a key. They have the gate code. They have the garage door opener. They just walk in the house. That's a privilege. Because I couldn't, as much as you might love Dear Woke Christian, you might say, Dear Woke Christian, come to visit me in Oklahoma. Dear Woke Christian, we are here in New York State. Dear Woke Christian, come visit us in Florida. It don't matter how much you care about me. You not just let me walk up in your crib. That's just not going to happen. And guess what? I'm not letting you walk up in Whitaker Park either. It's okay. That's not mean. That don't mean I don't like you. That don't mean that you dislike me because I got a lot of melanin and you got less melanin. That's not a privilege that I have. Now, it might take a little while. I have some friends of mine's house keys. And I could, if I wanted to right now, go to their house and go into their homes. It's going to take some time for that. But I have that privilege to do that. But I don't expect that from all of y'all. So the idea and the notion that just because you something that you do is privileged to certain people and not to everybody, that's so juvenile. I can't believe that she actually wrote that. That's the part that makes me crazy. Like, wait, y'all esteem this and thought that peer reviewed this and all that jazz? Peggy was crazy. She constantly showed ethnic preference so she could be cool. I agree. Like she was the pre Robin DiAngelo. She was the Robin DiAngelo before Robin DiAngelo was cool. Which, by the way, Robin DiAngelo is not cool. Um, Consistency is when your worldview is wrong. Oh, consistency is difficult when your worldview is wrong. I see what you did there. Thank you, Mike. Shara says, I'm sorry. I don't need a white person to speak on my behalf. Let's just stop right there. Why do you think you have to speak for me? Like literally, she has one. Wait, let me pull it up. Hold on. Because this one I think is adorable. She said, if I'm in a space where I'm the only white person, I don't have to feel some kind of way that my voice won't be heard. I say, but wait, I'm the only black deacon at my church. And when we have a joint session with the session in the diaconate, I'm the only black face in about 21 people, 21 men. And guess what? I talk a lot. I talk a whole lot and I bring up a lot of stuff. And guess what? They hear me and we parse it out and we duke it out, all that stuff. I cannot find it. Oh, I forgot which number it was. Why do I think it's 37? Yeah, it's so juvenile. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I agree on my behalf because they are white and I'm Hispanic. That's more racist, implying I need white person to champion my cause. Come on. You know what? This is going to lead me to a rant. Okay, rant uploading in 3, 2, 1. That follows why I say that Disney is racist, because in Marvel and DC Comics, instead of them utilizing the vast majority of other ethnic group stories that Disney, Marvel, and DC have access to, they would rather give you a black Ariel mermaid instead of giving you a whole new character. And I've done videos about that. I'll put those descriptions too. But a lot of people don't realize there has been a black mermaid in the My Little Mermaid universe. And they didn't use her. They race swapped Ariel. You know why? Because the only valid mermaid is a white mermaid. That's what they just told you. When they race swap Superman and make him black, the only valid Kryptonian in DC Comics is a white Superman. When they made a black Spider-Man, the only valid arachnid-powered superhero in New York was white Peter Parker. That's what they told y'all. You can argue with me, disagree with me. I'll put the videos down there and you can duke it out with me. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's what they're telling you. So that's why they do these kind of things. Deadwing said, we all bleed red. Come on. And we all fall short. No one is righteous. No, not one. Peggy Mary said she talked against general racism, but talked in all generalities. She was projecting. I don't understand how, again, for the life of me, I don't understand how she got away with this. Because it's such broad brush generalizations. Yeah, it was terrible. Peggy isn't giving up anything. Marxists never give up their personal wealth. They just want others to do so. Amen. Hey, I know that guy. It's not a pig. It's a pig trough. It's a pig trough of knowledge. It's not real knowledge at all. I mean, come on, Betty. That part right there. I might watch that tonight. I'll definitely watch it tomorrow. But man, I love Pilgrim's Progress, man. Oh my goodness. I can totally see why that is next to the Bible, the best-selling book. I got 3 copies of it over my shoulder. I was almost collecting them. Like, why do I keep buying this book? If I went to a bookstore and found it, found a thrift store, I would just pick it up and I had to start giving them away. Like, why am I buying so many of these books? Because I've had as many as five. Let me double check. Yeah, one, two. I got 3 copies of it right here. 1, 2, 3, and there's another one right there. So I got 3 copies currently. Why do I have 3 copies of Pilgrim's Progress? Why? I can totally see why, though. It's a great book, and it's such a wonderful allegory of our Christian journey. And guess what? No white people helped Pilgrim make it through. Everybody helped him. There's black people in there too, by the way. Jason, you're thinking with your common sense stuff again. I know. How dare I? How dare I? I'm supposed to be thinking with my emotions because facts don't matter. Eye contact. Man, I hope Matt sees that, man, because that's so ridiculous. Eye contact. I'm going to talk to you deacon time. If I did that, man, I would get kicked out of there so fast. Okay. All right, RL, they really didn't. They really did not. Miles Morales, if you just take Miles Morales and put him on paper, he is the exact same as Peter Parker. He's just darker. Some people call him Peter Darker. Like, Miles Morales is the exact same as Peter Parker. There's nothing new. There's nothing new about him. I mean, the way he got his powers, how he explored them. I mean, only thing is like his family dynamics are different, but if you really put it on paper, you're going to see a lot of similarities. But even more than that, watch this. Even more than that, did they have to make another Spider-Man? Did they have to? Fun fact, when I was in high school and early college, I loved Spider-Man comics. I loved them. Okay. And then I transitioned to Batman comics. But so I'm pretty familiar with the Spider-Man mythos. Did they need another Spider-Man comic? They didn't. If you look, just do a Google search. I'm going to drop the video in a moment. I'll put the video in the description. I did a whole video where I went and looked at all of the characters that are in Marvel Comics that are black. The list is ridiculous. And there's people in there, you're like, what? I've never heard of this character. This character, who is this? There's tons of them. And the same thing, actually, DC's list is longer than Marvel's. And they're just black characters and then I did research on African folk tales and so these are folk tales that are still on the continent of Africa that have never come to the United States, never come to Europe or anything like that. There is a glut of them. Why won't Marvel Comics deal with those? Why won't DC Comics deal with those? You mean to tell me that you couldn't have done anything with them? No, because the only valid characters are white characters. That's it. Prove me wrong. And I know it's going to make people mad. That's why I said it. Because at the end of the day, what they're telling you is that the only valid Spider-Man is white Peter Parker. The only white. Have you seen Nubia? The black Wonder Woman? I'm like, y'all took this. Y'all put up with this. Look up Nubia and you will laugh your head off. You can be like, man, come on, man. Come on. That's insulting. That was just insulting. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. And again, I'll put the description to those videos. They're called Disney is Whacked. Why is Disney Racist? And I think Marvel Comics is out of ideas or something like that. I'll put them in. There are playlists, I know. All right, Jillian said something. I love it. Jillian said, I don't wake up grateful I'm white or thinking I have special wisdom or to think everyone else should wish that they were white. I wake up hoping to get to work on time and raise my kids, right? Crazy. I agree. Craziness. And hear me, RL. I'm not saying, look, I'm still a little bit of a comic nerd. I still have a pretty deep box collection downstairs. Don't tell anybody, okay? So one of the things I noticed, like with their movies, like their source material, like, again, you're not trying to, they're not placating or reaching out to fans or reaching out to these fringes and these others like that. So that's the only reason I'm bringing it up. I just think it's interesting to watch them try their best to placate to two crowds, and really they're not going to get anybody taken care of. Nobody's going to. I hate it because Marvel used to put out some great movies, and now I'm like, whatever. I don't know what y'all doing. All right, Randy said he has a pushback, man. You gonna cam up, man. Cam up, man. I have a pushback. The reason why they race swipe these characters is because of recognizable IP. So because of marketing, you would get more money with a recognizable IP. I disagree. If they had done a black Little Mermaid, because watch this, the Little Mermaid cartoon series, there was a black mermaid. Her name was Gabriella. And I hate that I sound like I know like some kind of expert. But watch this. Her name is Gabriella. She was brown skin. She was a mermaid. She was a girl. And she was deaf. Are you trying to tell me that if they had done the story of Gabriella, a My Little Mermaid universe story, that would not have been amazing because it was not a race swap, but rather it was a brand new character in a recognizable universe? I'm sorry. I think they could have done. They would have been much wiser to do that. Same thing with Marvel. Same thing with DC. They could, for crying out loud, they are already on the continent of Africa in Wakanda. Why are you not giving them more black characters instead of white characters? We don't need a black Captain America. Nobody needed a black female Iron Man. Nobody needed that. Ironheart, Iron Girl, whatever, Riri Jenkins. Nobody needed that. You have again, Randy, and I know we're not like arguing at all, but there is a glut. And when again, if you just went and looked, the amount of characters that they could have used, I think you'll be like, yeah, they could have done a lot better than that. Luke Cage, for crying out loud. There's so many characters still, for crying out loud. They could have done so much with existing properties and IPs that would have easily been recognized. Now, again, maybe you would need a cameo. Okay, maybe you would need a cameo of an existing character to kind of help draw the correlation in the lines. But like, for example, Black Adam, there is no reason that Black Adam should have failed. There's no reason that movie should have failed. None whatsoever. They just did that horribly. They could have gave the people something they wanted. The people, the fans wanted a Shazam, Black Adam, Superman, battle royale. That's exactly what the people wanted. If you had given the people what they wanted, I guarantee you, Black Adam would be sitting on a $2 billion stockpile, and they'll be talking about Black Adam 2 right now. But they didn't. They placated and did something stupid. So I got you, my friend. Okay. If they take a black unknown character, okay, let me finish, and made a movie out of that character, it still may be a good movie, but it wouldn't make as much money if they would have used a recognized IP. I disagree. Remember, Black Panther was not very popular when Black Panther came out. When they started using Black Panther, he wasn't popular. Matter of fact, Iron Man was not a very popular character before the movie. Iron Man was not that popular. Was not. He wasn't a C-list character like a Black Panther, but he was a B plus maybe. But he was not Captain America. He was not Spider-Man. He was not Batman. Not at all. So they can take an unknown character. Matter of fact, they took an unknown character and built the entire Marvel MCU on an unknown character. I'm sorry, they could do that. They could do better. That's why franchises make so much money, because the IP is set. Most of the marketing is made. I got you. No argument there. I'm not arguing with that at all. All I'm saying is they, instead of race swapping and gender swapping characters, they could use brand new characters. Even this, watch this. They could stick with a white Little Mermaid. They could stick with a white Peter Parker and introduce other characters so that those characters then later on could get spinoffs. Because look at the John Wick franchise. They don't even know where to begin with their spinoffs. They have so many spinoff opportunities because they didn't race swap John Wick. They kept him Keanu Reeves, and they gave you all of these ancillary characters around. They're talking about doing a Barrio King movie. They're talking about doing a Mr. Nobody movie. They're talking about doing a ballerina movie. They're doing a movie. They're doing a TV series on the Continental. They could do better than that. That's all I'm saying. Too legit to quit says the primary problem is lack of imagination. Can they not come up with new engaging characters? The only thing is they don't actually have to. That's all I'm saying. They're literally, again, I might pull up, but I might have to do a Wikipedia real quick. like, like there is a ton of Black and other nationality group characters. Matter of fact, there's Black, Hispanic, and Asian characters are off the rails. They could do so much with them. They could do so much with them, and they would not have to race swap. They wouldn't have to use a white person to play a Black character, anything like that. Like, just stay in Wakanda. Just stay in Wakanda. You mean to tell me y'all don't want to know about the Jabari tribe? Y'all don't want to know about that? See, Marvel just cut their feet off. They done already cut their feet off. Can they come up with engaging characters? Not certain if they're laziness or something like that. I said that they're lazy, but they took chances. They might be surprised. I agree. Like, I mean, they clearly can, but they've lost people's interest in their content, in my opinion. I can't believe I'm talking about this long, but y'all know I live on a soapbox. Like, my house is literally built on a soapbox, so I can be on a soapbox in a moment. Deadwing says, honestly, I don't like any of the Marvel DC stuff. Now, let me ask you a question. Is that new, or is that from the beginning, like from Iron Man 1? Because I think most people have lost their interest in DC and Marvel product. DC has struggled. They've been struggling, period. But most people that I know, and I'm asking a legitimate question, it's since, like, I think it's like Endgame or Endgame. That's where most people like, yeah, I done had enough of this. So moving into, I think what they call it, phase 4 of the Marvel universe, people lost all interest in it. But before then, even like casual comic book fans were like, oh, these movies are interesting. They're engaging. I like them. And I think that's where they went wrong. Yep, there we go. Somebody else says that Captain America was the main character. Iron Man was a B-list character. He was not that popular before the movies. He was part of the Avengers, the West Coast group. Absolutely. He was a member of the original Avengers, but he was not the Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man that we know and love today. He wasn't. The Iron Man sitting in the donut, eating the donut, he was not that popular until the movie. I agree. Like, there could be so many good writings. I promise you, if y'all just go to Wikipedia, look up Black DC comic characters, Black Marvel comic characters, and even independent comic characters, you'll be like, get out of Dodge. Like, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. And you don't need to make a Black Wonder Woman. You don't need to make a Black Superwoman. You don't need to. You don't have to. Hey, brother, hear me. I've just had this discussion with quite a few people, and I'll drop the videos down in the description as well. And it's not, I enjoy it because I like seeing certain things happen and watch them, especially if I know and I'm familiar with them. Like, I'm familiar with comic books because I, again, was a comic book nerd. I have a pretty big long box set downstairs of comic books. So I'm kind of familiar with them. So I just think they're interesting. So yes, diversity is already built in. You don't have to give them a Black Little Mermaid. You don't need a Black Ariel. You don't need a Black. You know what? Hey. You know what? Let me be a hypocrite. Samuel L. Jackson is a fantastic Nick Fury, and Nick Fury was originally white. Yep, Nick Fury was originally white, and they used Samuel Jackson, and literally now the black Nick Fury in the comic books and all that kind of stuff is based off of Samuel L. Jackson. So you know what? Sometimes it works out. I'll give you that. But again, most people didn't know who Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. was anyway. So it was, again, it took a B-list character. I think Nick Fury was like a C at that point. Nobody knew who he was. They chose Samuel L. Jackson for it. Samuel L. Jackson killed it. So I have to take my own hat off on that one. So, so yeah, Restoring Hero Project says that after Endgame, it went woke. Yep. Yeah, I would say Iron Man was the IT tech. He was not a popular character before the movies. He wasn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Brienne. I'm sorry. All of this is over my head. The last superhero movie I saw was the second Spider-Man. Okay. I found it stressful, actually. That's not true. I did see the first Black Panther and Shazam. Yes, I saw Black Panther. I didn't see the second Black Panther. And I've never seen the Shazam movie. Oh, I agree. Samuel Jackson is a fantastic character actor. I listen what I'm saying though. I don't know if they were because Nick Fury was originally a white character. So I don't know if they tried every possible white actor and Samuel Jackson just got in there and just stole the show. I don't know. But however they decided to make that decision, I think it was the right decision, hands down, because he is a great Nick Fury. No argument for me at all. Deadwing says, I don't like that they say we can be heroes and can save one another. We can't save one another. The best we can do is postpone only the Lamb of God. You are correct. And now I'm not saying that they're theologically sound at all or biblically sound by any means. If you ever follow me, I might just call them like, just mind candy, just a good old relaxation. You just want to unwind. You want to just get some some entertainment. I think they're entertaining. I'm not saying they're theological. I'm not saying they're going to get you into heaven and give you good theology and that. I just think they're just entertaining. And I will be going to go see the Fast and Furious 10 in a couple weeks, and I know it's not getting good ratings, but I'm gonna be right there. I'm gonna be right there. I don't remember the Tobey Maguire. Yeah, that was bad. You're right. You're right. I remember that now. With uh the Venom symbiote. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. See, there we go. You got Storm, you already got Morrow, you got Bishop, you got Blade, Steel, you got Luke Cage. I mean, there's literally better than 100, maybe fewer, but there's a ton of characters they could use. And again, if you just do African folklore that have never left the continent of Africa, there's still even more. So that you could just stay right there and just do Wakandan integration for days. But yes, I've seen David Hughes. Yep, I've seen it. I did a video on his Too Legit to Quit. You said, do you know Mark Hughes out of Canada? He based one Easter service on Marvel. Yep, I've seen it. And it's horrible. I just did his most recent Easter sermon, which was Beauty and the Beaster. And it was based off of Beauty and the Beast. It was a dumpster fire. But yeah, and he crucifies Iron Man on the cross. Yep. That guy is a mess. Yep, Black Annie. You know what? We have Black Annie. We call her Tanny here at the house. It was a cute movie, but it was good. I think the modernization of the movie made it good. It's not the race swap per se. It's the modernization. Because again, we have the original Annie. My now 13-year-old, her 5th birthday was an Annie inspired birthday party. I should play that video for y'all. Y'all are not ready for this. I mean, we made the whole house, the orphanage, all her friends came to the party dressed as orphans. My wife was Miss Hannigan. I was the gardener at first. Then I became costume change and became Daddy Warbucks. My daughter has the little Annie dress on. It's ridiculous. We had a dog in the house. It was crazy. You know what? I'm gonna put that video up because you all are not ready to laugh that hard because it is out of control. And we sing together at last. She and I, it is out of control. I have to put that up there. You all are gonna laugh so hard. But yeah, I love Tanny. I ain't gonna lie. I liked it. And I like the modernization of it. I just thought that they did a decent job of bringing, what was that, like in the 60s? I think it was filmed in the 60s. When was the original Annie? Maybe it was the 80s, because Carol Burnett was in it. Okay, let's say it was the 80s. So I feel like they brought it current, really fun, and I thought it was cute with the whole Jamie Foxx character. I thought it was all good. Yeah, no, that party was out of control. That was the best party. Hold on, if I have it on my, if I have it in my what you call it, y'all might be the first evers because I know it's gonna get copyright struck because we're playing music. But I have to see. Let's see if I can find it. I know it's on my phone, but I think I put it on our website as well. And then I gotta get out of here because I hear them. Or maybe we'll do like a special Tanny episode. Okay, no, it is not on my YouTube. I'm gonna load it on there in a second, and I'll do a special show on it. Yeah, I don't see it. No, it's not on here. I'll do a special show on it. It might be on our Flickr. Okay, let me stop. But oh, it was out of control. It was totally. We used to do some of the most insanest birthday parties. I'm telling you, like my rising 16-year-old on her fifth birthday, we did Cinco de Trina, and so we turned the entire house into a Mexican cantina, and we had all of and like I'm cooking tacos on the grill. Oh, I mean, it was crazy. I think I don't remember whose it was. I think it was Taylor's third birthday. We did a Dr. Seuss theme party where all of her friends got a little goldfish, and I came dressed as a cat in a hat. Oh my gosh. Uh, one year, Big Girl had a princess party. It was like Snow White or Beauty and the Beast, and I came dressed as Prince Charming, and my wife was like the fairy godmother or something. I don't remember what it was. Crazy. We have had some of the craziest birthday parties. Like you would really like. I'm glad that we stopped doing that because it was getting way out of control. I think the goldfish giveaway one was the craziest because we had friends like months later, like Jason, why is this goldfish still alive? Like Jason, I can't believe this goldfish is still alive. Like we really gave everybody goldfish as parting gifts. It was bananas. We had no idea why we were doing it. Um, oh man, so we'll have to. I try. We really wanted my wife, and I'm gonna end on this one. Thank you, Too Legit. So my wife really wanted to make sure that our kids have really good memories. So that's like we were really stress giving them good memories of their mom and dad married and happy and all that kind of stuff. We want them to have really good memories of that so they can always reflect back like, yeah, my dad was not the best dad. But he tried his best. I just want them to say the guy tried his best, and he wanted to give us good memories and show us what a good godly husband should be like and what a good godly dad should be like. He doesn't dot his I's. He don't cross his T's. He still fusses about the way they load the dishwasher up, the trifling Olympics. I can't believe how they do loading that dishwasher. But even in the midst of that, like we always wanted them to be like, they try their best to be good parents. They try their best to give us good memories and stuff like that. So that's it. All right, let's see. Baby Donkey in the building. So I got to make sure I give a shout out to him. I'm glad my daughter never bought a goldfish home. Now there were people mad at us too. It was about 20 kids. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, easily, I'm not even being funny. I want to say it's like 6-7 months later, there were still people saying like, Jason, how is this goldfish still alive? This goldfish is still alive. And we gave him like a little bag of food, I think, too. So they at least got started feeding them. It was crazy. Jeez, I'm feeling like a real slouch. I didn't even decorate for Christmas. It's okay. I don't like decorating for Christmas, but that's just me. Because there's just a lot of stuff I got to bring out the basement. I always hate it. I want to go fish at a fall fest when I was a kid. I mean, yeah, they're fun. All right, so Mike Miller said, my wife threw a Candyland party for my daughter and made an entire house. See, I love that. I love that. I never really played Candyland though. I've seen it played. I don't think I've ever played Candyland. I don't think so. I've seen it played before. I've never played it. Oh, I don't think anybody's goldfish lived that long. 10 years. I don't think anybody's goldfish lived that long. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think so. All right, y'all. I can't believe it, man. We've been talking for almost 2 hours. Everybody, I want to thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. Check out the description in about an hour. I'm going to put all those links to the different podcasts I talked about, my own podcast, as well as a link to Peggy McIntosh's essay on um, white invisible knapsacks, whatever clownery. I'll make sure I put that down in the description as well. So I want to thank you all so much for supporting this channel. Thank you so much for encouraging me, coming to the live, giving these great feedback and questions and such like that. I want to thank you all. Thank you, mods, for doing all that you all do. Everybody, thank you so much. Have a blessed week. Make much of our King. And by God's grace, I'll see you again real soon, everybody. Grace and peace. Take care.